Welcome to another episode of the Scottish Property Podcast. My name's Nick Ponte. I'm here as ever with Stephen Clark. How you doing, Stephen?
Hello, how are you?
Yes, all good. And it was a roaring success there the other night at Glasgow. We had 70 people at our podcast event, and you came through and talked. How did you find it?
Brilliant, mate. I actually loved it. I've kind of got a reignited spark for networking. I think we probably both did have a spell for a couple of years before starting the podcast, and we felt networking was a bit boring and repetitive and the same faces, and you weren't getting much from it. And I feel like the Scottish Property Podcast event's obviously biased, but they're fucking brilliant. They're great. The energy you had in the room, yourself, Gillian, Jane, and the other speakers, Jonathan, they've done a great job. Such a variety of room as well in Glasgow. Like, you had a 16-year-old guy to a probably near 70-year-old woman. Like, it was like there was such a variety in the room. It was really good to see.
I know, and this is exactly how we met our next guest, Gillian Mcluskie. So she has presented a deal. She has a sourcing business to her property wing, and also she does staging as well. So Gillian has kindly come on the podcast today to talk about her journey, and it was really quite interesting because a lot of people who are starting out will really love to hear this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she took a career break back in October, so I think she's 8 months in to her year career break to see if she can, follow a bit of a passion, a bit of a dream after kind of having known Stephen and Martin Sweeney for a number of years. She's kind of followed their journey and thought, what can I get involved in? And it so happened to be sourcing. And so it's nice to see somebody at that stage of their journey, because people listening to this can relate to that and go, well, how can you make money to replace your income in property like that kind of quickly? And she's doing it. And you asked her right at the end, you called her out on it, are you going back after your year's break? And she gave the honest answers, which was quite cool.
Yeah, no, it's inspirational stuff, So have a listen to this interview, and we'll cut to the interview with Gillian. So welcome to the Scottish Property Podcast, Gillian Mcluskie. Thanks very much for joining us. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for the invitation. Very privileged to be here, guys. Thank you.
No, thanks for joining us. I missed your. Nick was saying that you'd done a deal of the month at the Scottish Property Podcast Network event in Glasgow, and he said it was really good. So I'm glad you're on to join us and share it for all the listeners as well.
Yep, not a problem.
So, Gillian, you've got quite a few things going on at the moment. You've got, you're doing a little bit of sourcing, you're doing some staging. So we want to get into all that sort of good stuff and have a chat around that later on. But let us know a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got involved in the property carry on then.
Absolutely. So I have worked in social work for 11 years, and my good friends Martin and Stephen Sweeney, who I think you guys know, they became involved in property. I was very intrigued as to what the boys were up to. So I had kind of asked what he's doing. Martin had then says to me, do you want to start sourcing us some properties? Which I had absolutely no idea what that meant at that time. So I was like, yeah, what is that? So quickly explained, find tired properties. This is how you do your numbers. And really that was that. I then started every waking minute and hour was pretty much searching for properties, going out doing viewings. And I just fell in love with it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a hard game when you're constantly getting rejection after rejection after rejection. But, I'm thick-skinned, so I just kept going. Managed to get the boys a good couple of properties, and then they had said, do you want to, do this more? We can't buy them all. Maybe we should start a kind of sourcing business. So, but obviously I was still working full time, so it was pretty hard going. But I just loved it, and ever since then, did some training, and yeah, it's been a journey and a half. So it has, and then obviously in February of last year, so that was about 4 years ago. Then February of last year, I had decided, right, I'm going to take a career break, which was a pretty bold decision, considering I'm, a single parent. My son's 22. which is a challenge in itself. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to take a career break, spend more time with the family, especially given the COVID carry on, and, you know, kind of work on my hobby as it was type thing. And I had set the date of when I was going to do it. I was going to leave in October, take the career break, that all get accepted.
Did you tell your employer that you're off to be a property investor then, or did you just
No, I had just, you know, basically said I was going to spend some time with the family and focus on my hobby of property, which was pretty correct. But as you know, you have these big plans. I'm going to be organised. I'm going to have money in the bank. I'm going to be prepared, and none of that happened. None of it. I just was like, as October was approaching, I was thinking, oh my God, I am not as organised as what I was supposed to be. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And that was me.
What was it about property? Obviously, you met the Sweeney brothers, who we've had on the podcast before. You've known them for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, so I'm best friends with Martin's wife. So I've known the boys for over 20 years.
Right.
Great boys, know the family, you know, and really, really good friends with them all. So
what was it about property that you thought, do you know what, I can do this, or I'd like to do this? You know, like what was it? Did you have a kind of previously? Had you had a wee spark for it, or was it just when you met, when you got speaking to the boys and you found out what was possible, then you thought, oh, I quite fancy about this as well?
Yeah, I think for me it was just the possibility of turning these properties into lovely homes, you know. And I just loved the full process. I used to get excited. I actually used to get excited to get a rejection and an offer. Like, yeah, that's okay. You know, just go for no, as they say. Mm-hmm. But it was just very exciting to me. I just loved getting into these properties and seeing, I suppose, as well, the little old antique things that, you know, how maybe somebody used to live there and what it was like. And then for us to then, you know, create another beautiful home for a family that would effectively stay there. I just loved the full process, and I love to learn. So as I was learning from the boys, and probably annoying them, to be fair, you know, half the time, because I was full of questions. And then, as I say, I did some training, and I met my property coach, Heather. And I've pretty much glued myself to her ever since. So that's been quite good.
Great stuff. No, I mean, obviously everybody's got a different reason why they want to get into it. I mean, it's great that you've actually been able to kind of keep your job open as well, because that gives you that kind of, a lot of people are scared and are very hesitant to make that jump, you know, into property, because they think, well, what if it doesn't work? Or, you know, quite often people will be like, I want to get into property because I want to quit my day job. They go and quit the job, and then they realise that it actually takes quite a long time to build up a property business to the point where you can actually sustain your salary that you've just given up. So by keeping this, you know, your job open, that's quite a good way to kind of transition and sort of test the water, if you like. So would you kind of recommend that to anybody if they could go down that route?
I think if you have that opportunity that you can leave your job there, absolutely. You know, surround yourself with the right people. It is hard going, but you don't know if you don't try. So when I had decided to do it, and again, a lot of negativity towards it, you know, with regards to my family didn't understand what I was doing. They all thought I was off my head. Like, what the hell are you doing? You can't just leave your job and do these things. You've got bills to pay. You know, you're on your own with the house and things like that. And I just says, well, you know, I have got bills to pay, and that'll be my issue. So I know that this works. If I put in the hours, if I put in all the learning and everything that I can get, you know, coming to the podcast and doing all these things and learning for other people and learning from the mistakes that you make along the way as well. You know, it's not always plain sailing, but I would definitely recommend it. Just go with your gut. If you think there's a possibility that you could do it, then why not try? You know, if you can leave, I could go back to my work at any time. which isn't my intention. Now that obviously things are progressing. But again, having that safety net was really important for me, because without that, it's as you say, it's a long game. It's a long, hard game, and money's, when you're used to having a monthly pay, it's a big jump.
And you're 8 months into this career break, aren't you? Did you
Yes.
go for another year? And how long did they give you? Did they give you a year or?
Yeah, they give me a year. So I think it's the 1st of October I've got up until. So,
Brilliant.
So we'll see how that goes.
Right.
So obviously you've jumped into this, and then you obviously, do you own any properties at the moment? Or are you building up towards that?
I'm building up towards that. I don't have any particularly on my own. I've joint ventured with Heather on a couple of things.
Right.
But I suppose for me that is the plan, to build my own portfolio. But what I keep doing is I keep sourcing them on. So, and then I'm like, oh, I should have kept that one for myself. But
so obviously, this is quite common, obviously. So people to sort of transition into property, first of all, you need to kind of build an income, don't you, to pay the bills, like you said. So you've obviously thought, right, what can I do here? So you decided to go down the sourcing route, didn't you? So tell listeners a little bit about, how that can work for somebody to build up that initial kind of cash flow, and just be able to kind of, you're basically trying to create yourself a job and a salary to pay off your bills. So what did you do, and how did you go about it?
So, like I say, working alongside the boys and just constantly going for viewings, building relationships with estate agents, trying to build relationships with investors, because you need to be a trustworthy person. So if they don't know who you are, then it can be quite, why would they invest? So I found that quite challenging, because sometimes I would maybe have a property, but at the start I would be like, well, I don't actually have an investor type thing. So it was quite
you were quite fortunate that you already had investors, i.e. Martin
Stephen, that's
Sweeney
right.
brothers. So you had that kind of that's a lot of people start, and they have to try and find people to market to, or to sell the deals to if they're sourcers. So that was great. You got off to a flying start. So really you were focused on finding the deals, building up the relationships. How did you find that at the start? Because obviously if you're going to view a property, as a sourcer, the estate agent's going to be asking you questions like, is this for yourself? Who's it for? Oh no, it's for my investor clients. And then they start thinking, well, she's got no money. So how did you kind of convince people?
I think at the beginning it was a case of, I think this girl doesn't know what she's talking about type thing. So it was just, having to regularly turn up to the viewings, build that relationship, keep telling them, I do have investors there, and this is what I'm looking for. Give them your criteria. So they'll kind of contact you at times. This is going to be coming on the market, different things. So at first it was it was very daunting as well, because I wasn't confident in doing it either. So, and it's one of the ones where you've got the kind of imposter syndrome, saying, why are you doing this? You don't know what you're doing. You're just winging it. So that was quite a challenge just to keep going. But then once they start to remember you and you start to get known in the kind of circuit type thing, and also, going to networking events, building all the kind of connections, because people are, time poor and cash rich, whereas time poor, cash rich, whereas I'm time rich and cash poor, so you're like, this kind of, it is a great service you provide. And I suppose it's having that mindset of you are providing a service rather than, just, you're just kind of winging it type thing. And it is a very, very great way to get started in property. It's a great way to build your pot. And it's a great way, while you're building your pot, you're also learning. So, and as well, working with the guys, and going through the full refurb process with them as well, which was great, because, I'm not exactly a builder or anything like that. So although I love interior design and all things, housey. It was quite, sourcing a property, then, you estimate your refurb, then we lift out the bathroom, and then we have dry rot. Okay, so what is dry rot? I was like, what is that? It's one of the ones, you're like, oh my goodness. So all of that was really, really good to learn.
That sounds brilliant. I mean, it sounds like a proper, apprenticeship in property, because you've been kind of exposed to all that stuff as well, which is fantastic learning. Much better than what any probably property course could give you. You're actually out there doing it, learning on the job.
That's definitely the way I learn, on the job, definitely.
You hit it on the head there. I think people listen to it oh, why would I pay for a sourcer? But then this is time consuming. This is more difficult to find deals and get out there and, like you say, doing the viewings, getting the rejections, putting offers in, constantly building the relationship. You're finding that service people that people out there that maybe are stalling in their own portfolio. They're working their career, their business. They've got some money, but they're stalling their own portfolio because they can't put in the time or effort. You provide that service, and I think a lot of people that start early on in property don't realise that the use of a sourcer could be very valuable. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I could view, maybe 40 properties, and it's very time consuming. So with somebody that's, got their own things going on, it's definitely great value for money when you've got somebody else to do it for you. And it's, I just think it's good fun, but it's hard work. It is hard work.
Are you still very active with the sourcing at the moment? You're putting in a lot of viewings just now?
Yeah, I'm still doing the sourcing, putting not maybe as much hours as I had been due to obviously building my staging business, but still very much out there looking for deals, contacting the estate agents. Obviously, I've got links with Auction House with John Loudon as well, which he's really good and knowledgeable. So yeah, I'm still out there looking for deals.
And how are you finding it? I mean, people still saying it is tough, but are you finding any signs of the market easing up at all? Are you able to, what areas have you been looking in? How are you finding it out there?
It is a crazy market, to be fair. Even the properties that are needing refurbs and stuff like that are still, people are wanting that bit extra. But if the numbers work, the numbers work. I'm North Lanarkshire, South Lanarkshire, Glasgow, Ayrshire, really anywhere that we can find properties. But yeah, it's crazy. The market's slowing down, I would say, with regards to there is stuff sitting on it maybe a little bit longer now, and also there's some repossessions that I've been viewing as well, so they're starting to come through, because I know obviously during the COVID thing, the repossessions and all that kind of stopped. So yeah. I have been working alongside a couple of estate agents that they're kind of saying, there is some repossessions coming on as well. So I'm in the process of trying to get a repossession over the line. You love that negotiation. This is my offer. Oh, well, no. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, well, it's one of the ones. So, but it's definitely, it's more tough. However, there's still deals there. You just got to keep on going. I've got a great bank of investors that are hot on my heels, looking for stuff with, different criteria. I think that's important as well. Maybe a deal won't work for one, but it'll work for another. So it's having that broad criteria of investors as well that's quite interesting and good. So.
And your investors you've got on board, Gillian, do you charge them up front for a fee? Do you make them pay up front so you're not working?
No. So basically, when there's no upfront fee until when we find a property and they want to secure on that property, then they'll pay a holding deposit, and then they'll pay the remainder once the keys and the missives and all that are signed, and once I collect the keys, which is usually, a collection key post on the old social media.
We love one of them, any excuse. I've even gone a step further and done a wee dance when I pick up the keys now.
Oh, see, I'm not really that confident in the social media, I have to say. I'm trying better to get better at that, but yeah, but on the key collection, Stephen, that's when they'll pay the remainder. So it's only a small holding deposit and then the rest on that.
And there's the bolt-on service, project managing the renovation and staging it at the back end. Is that you do that as well?
Yes, So Martin heads up the refurb team. So he does all that, which is great. And then if it's flips and the investor is interested in staging, I'll also offer that service, which I've just completed over the weekend. While everyone was enjoying the sunshine, I was working, slaving away, staging Martin and Stephen's recent flip. So that is where I've been all weekend. So that was great fun.
You know, got the tan over the weekend.
No tan here, I'm afraid, unfortunately.
Did you do Stephen Gallagher's one then that he recently posted about?
No, I didn't do his one. No.
Because you were at the Scottish SaaS networking event, wasn't he?
That's right. Yep. So which SaaS is really an interesting situation as well. It's all about learning, isn't it? But some of it goes way over my head, unfortunately.
And how have you managed to take on, like, you know, have you managed to bring in other investors as well? And how's that process been for you? Is it through social media? Is it through, you know, friends of family, that sort of thing?
Through social media, but also through the networking events that I've attended.
Right.
You know, it's amazing that the people that you meet that are looking to buy property but don't have the time. And so being able to do that, and I'm also in a kind of networking group on social media, Kajito it's called. So I'm in there, which a few investors have come through, because Scottish property is a really, really great investment compared to the prices down in England. You know, I have an investor who purchased a 2-bed flat in the Hamilton area, and her and her husband had come up to, obviously, and it's good when you get an investor day and they come up and you take them around and you show them what they've purchased, which is a great big responsibility, because you're thinking, oh God, you know, she's, you know, a really good investor, and I hope everything's, you know, as they hope it's going to be. But great feedback with regards to the size of the property and how much that would cost down in the London area. And how much more of cash flow she gets for her money investing in Scotland. So I have found a lot of investors, like a few investors from that little group that are really, really keen in purchasing property up here, which is great. So we have a target this year of sourcing 100 properties this year. So it's definitely...
And we're already halfway through the year, so how many have you achieved so far?
We're getting there. We're on track-ish. So it's definitely a challenge, but we're on track. We're getting there. So yeah, probably just, you know, and as well with my family, they're kind of, I wouldn't say negative anymore. They still don't understand what the hell I'm doing, but you know.
Coming back to the networking where you find your investors, what would you say is the best networking event you've been to so far?
Oh, come on now. Obviously, the Scottish Property Podcast.
Yes.
Definitely. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, it's great to have you along to these events, and, you know, love, obviously, we're building the community. You know, it was great chat the other night as well. Anyway, so this negativity thing that you talked about with the family and stuff like that, and people just don't understand what you do, I think that's a very common thing that you speak to a lot of people about. I guess it's really hard, because if you've got like your partner and that, who, you know, I mean, it must be so difficult. How do you kind of deal with that?
Well, to be fair, I just kind of ignore them and laugh, because I'm just like, you know, I'm clearly doing something right, because I'm still going. And I think probably what I love to do is prove people wrong as well, because I think my friends and family, obviously, I'm slightly a scatterbrain and do crazy things, and I love a good laugh. So I think they thought at first I was just, you know, having a laugh and things like that. But I think now they're starting to really take me seriously. Like, this is really working, Gillian. Like, you know, you're doing your staging now as well. And so, yeah, I just let them roll with it. I'm like, you know, you're not paying my bills. You can be negative. If you want to continue to go to your work and moan about going to work and moan about the 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, then you fill your boots. But I'm just not accepting that life. I'm just not doing it, you know.
Love that attitude. Well done.
And I think property gives you that, you know, freedom, and gives you that where you can just suit yourself, and see, as long as you work hard and just keep building positive relationships and learning and sticking, you know, to your coach like I do, and constantly learning for others, then I just laugh at them and just say, yeah.
It's just people's limited beliefs. They don't understand it, don't they? They don't get it. They don't understand it. So rather than stepping out of their comfort zone and actually learning or actually paying attention, it's that typical kind of Scottish nature. They'll just shut it down. They'll just be negative rather than actually trying to understand it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, well, I'm 43. If anything goes wrong, I'm as well giving it a bash now, because in 10 years' time, I maybe not have the guts to go for it. So I'm just going for it. And it's going really well. And yeah, I love to just keep going and learning all the time.
Yeah. So bring us on to your staging business then. So, like, you know, you started off with the sourcing, you've obviously, you know, progressed into staging. So how did that all come about?
So, obviously, doing the properties from start to finish. I love, you know, all things housing, interior design and things like that. But I suppose throughout my life, you know, always not having as much money as you would want to kind of decorate your house the way you would want it and different things. And then Heather had spoke to me and she says, why don't you have your own staging business? And I was like, I never really thought of that before. And obviously Heather had coached Olivia Conlon. So she says, you know, I've worked with Olivia. This is something that I think you'd be really good at. So I began to as well follow Olivia. I've been to a couple of her networking things, which has been amazing. So yes, I just started, you know, really researching it and finding, you know, that it's not as big in Scotland. Obviously in America, it's absolutely, you don't, you know, sell a property without staging it. Over there. It just becomes second nature, which is hopefully is the way it's going to go here. Yeah. So I just kind of started learning about it and really realising the value of it for investors, especially working with them, and how it would help them increase their end value of their property if they're flipping, and also staging it for the valuation, which also will help with that as well. So that was pretty much how I got into it, and just, again, learning all about it and having the support network of Heather and the guys and them, you know, helping me forward has been, I suppose, benefits you if you're kind of half in the game anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and just kind of learning that way. Also joined BNI to build on my staging business, and also recently I've connected with Keller Williams as well to you know, promote the staging on that. So that's going really well as well. So obviously, sorry, you go.
Sorry, on you go.
Obviously, at the start of the staging business, it was like half in my house, and like my friends' houses I'd go up and I'd be like, yeah, well, I could take that mirror and I'll borrow this and I'll borrow that. And so I ended up getting barred from the houses because every time I left a piece of their furniture.
You're stealing stuff from their houses and using it on the jobs. Yeah. How does that work then? It's like when you're starting up a staging business, because obviously, like, if you were to go out and buy like loads of furniture, it costs an absolute fortune. So how do you get started without, like, obviously having loads of money?
Well, the trick is, I'm saying the trick, but when you secure a staging deal, then you have a 50% upfront payment. Right. So whatever you're needing, you know, when you're building your kit, that kind of pretty much you can purchase what you need to purchase. If you've not got enough, then, you know, like I did, you know, went around my friends and family and started taking pieces of their house right into the car, and then just kind of build it that way. So it's been really helpful. But yeah, I have a good few kits now that I just keep adding on, and also one that I've just recently staged. I've been contacted this morning actually from the estate agent that the buyer's looking to purchase all the furniture as well. So I'll go back and like that, then the buyer's happy. She's looking to just move straight in with all the furniture, which is amazing. And then I'll just now go out and buy a new kit and then start again, and everything's, refreshed and things like that. So that's really, I'd probably, that's how you get going, 50%, and then.
Is a staging one then just a rental one? So if you take 50% up front, and is it a rental fee for a certain period, a couple of months, or how long you need it for? Or
it's a rental for 6 weeks, or if your property sells prior to that, then I will go in and remove all the furniture. If it's more than 6 weeks, then it's additional cost that will be discussed with the client. Just really, again, like with your investors, you just work with your client. What is it that's working for them? What do they need? Do they have any vision in mind and things like that? So
can you give us a rough idea of a cost for, say, I know every property will be different and it depends on what the spec and the length of time, but can you give us a kind of case study, just, a 2-bedroom flat or something like that,
Yeah, well, a 2-bed flat, you're looking at 1,295. So that's my price on that. And like that, it's discuss it with your client and things like that. So yeah, just a rough.
Do you think that really, what's the feedback been? You obviously speak to estate agents and all that as well. Do you think it really does make a difference? Do you think it's worth the money? Do you think you get that money back?
Oh, absolutely. It helps the buyer see the properties look bigger, they look brighter. You want to have that initial, first impression. You want them to fall in love with it. You want them, because we buy with emotion. Because when I was buying my home, you go into the show homes and you're like, oh, that looks beautiful, it's amazing. But when I've went into another one and it's empty, it's like, well, this one's just about ready, finished, and you go in, it's an empty shell. You're like, oh, some people can't visualize. If it's not there, they can't really see it. So also, it's the increase in the sale price that the estate agents are looking to achieve, and also the seller, which has been fantastic. One that I had recently staged a couple of months ago, that actually went 90,000 over the home report. Brilliant. Which is fantastic, so it was great feedback.
It's hard, isn't it, to kind of gauge, you're saying 90,000 on home report, you just wonder if it hadn't had the furniture staging, you just wonder what difference. It would be really interesting to have two identical properties, one staged and one not, and see what the difference.
Well, the thing is as well, studies and things have showed, a staged property sells 8 to 10% over the home report anyway. It does give people that visualized, and then they fall in love with it, and then that's what you want. If you can trigger that emotion and make them see themselves in it, and then the other buyer is looking to purchase the full kit, so that just speaks volumes, so that's absolutely beneficial.
So is that your kind of dream job then, going up and picking up all these, you said you like your interior design and all that, so is that great fun for you as well? So it's great to hear somebody that's made a passion into a job as well, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I absolutely love it. It's, I get all excited. I'm like, where are you going today, Gillian? You coming into Glasgow? We're going to the pub. I was like, no, I'm going shopping.
Aye. And it's great because it's you're saying you're taking money up front, so it's not like you're spending your own money either. So it's
and Toby just loves spending other people's money. It's so much.
Aye, that's it. And you're helping them as well at the end of the day, like you say, the money's coming back to their pocket on the sale price.
Yeah, definitely.
No, that's fun. So what would you say has been the challenges so far? Obviously, we like to kind of give the reality to our listeners as well. So, it's not all plain sailing in this property game. So, what are some of the kind of hard parts,
For me, I think obviously at the beginning, you've got all the negativity. That is hard, because property it can be a lonely game. You're out there, you're viewing, you're on your own. It's really challenging. What else has been difficult for me? I guess going from, I've worked ever since I was 15, I've always worked, thankfully. I've always managed to have jobs. And I suppose it's a big shift from going from a monthly pay to money's in, money's out, I'm still learning all this kind of thing.
Managing that cash flow, that kind of 1 month's looking great, and next month not so good.
Yes, that's right. And obviously I haven't got my own portfolio as yet, but to have that will be beneficial going forward. But I think definitely, overcoming the negativity, just surround yourself with the same people, because we all feel the same at some point. When I speak to other people, either other sourcers, stagers, investors, we all feel it at times, and it's important to just kind of stick in there and talk to everybody and know that you're not alone like that. And then just kind of the budgeting and finances thing is still a bit hectic. I mean, it's just like 1 minute I'm like, yeah, I'm a millionaire this month, yeah. And then next month, what's happening?
We've talked to actually last week we put out an interview with a guy called Jim Brown. Great interview. He talked a lot about he gave up his job as well. He moved to Bali, and he talked about giving up the material stuff and really kind of reining in and creating a tight budget for himself. Have you had to kind of make any sacrifices like that at all yourself?
Well, I keep saying that I'm going to sacrifice, and my mum will say, Gillian, you would go to the opening an envelope. If somebody says there's a party or there's a night out, I'm always there. I've been to Marbella already with my friends. So I'm
not really then.
I'm it in, but I've got serious FOMO half the time. Right. So, but no, I think probably I'm not out as much, but when I'm going out, I'm like, it's like 2 something. I've got a wedding in Vegas this year. So I think, I'm trying to take guys, but it's not working.
Events become part of your social life and stuff like that. Do you actually enjoy going to network events now, or meeting your investors rather than nights out?
Yes, absolutely. In actual fact, last Christmas, well, not that Christmas Day, the Christmas before it, I think it was, instead of going to my actual work's Christmas night out, I went down to Birmingham for a networking event, and all the people in work are like, what are you doing? And I quite clearly advised them that I was investing in myself, and that's what I was doing, and I wasn't going to wake up the next day with a hangover like they were all going to do. And I was going to invest in myself. And we often, laughed about it afterwards. That like, Gillian, you really sacrificed a night out I says, I'm following the dream. I'm doing it. I'm going to just keep going. But yeah, the networking events are great, especially when you get to obviously build your confidence and talking at them as well. And in actual fact, after my talk at the podcast, a young boy had come up and kind of introduced himself and had said that I'd inspired him. Now, to me, that was absolutely amazing. He's only 16. He's paid for his ticket. He's came in the bus, and I thought, you at the age of 16, I don't think I would have had the guts to do that. He's sitting there amongst all these people, and he's really, really keen to learn. So I've actually met up with him since then, myself and Heather, just to kind of give him a wee pointers, and he's managed to get himself a wee job. He's wanting to do property. So I think when you go to networking events, it can be really, really powerful. Not just to us, but to everybody.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and the guy you're talking about, he's been coming. He was back at the last one there as well.
That's right. I met him. That's right.
He just got himself a job. He's left school now, and he's got his first job, KFC, 16, right in there, just getting in, stuck in and amongst it. So
it was out with myself and Heather on Saturday.
Really?
We're doing a joint venture with some flats in Paisley, so we were doing some garden work. So Heather had us all reined in, and I picked him up, and he was out there grafting, and it was really great, and he couldn't thank us enough. But see, like that, if you can help other people, with their journey, then absolutely, it's a good feeling when you know that you've kind of inspired somebody. Because like that, the boys inspired me, Heather inspires me, everybody inspires everybody. So it was good.
No, that's great. And this is a couple of personal questions for you as well, but I'm just really, really interested because we've caught you right in the kind of the kind of start of your journey, and you've thrown yourself right in here. And a lot of people will be listening to this going, oh, I wish I had the balls to do what she's done. But, have you got somebody else, like a partner or husband, to support you as well if it all goes wrong? Have you got somebody else to back you up?
Pretty much financially screwed if it doesn't work. We'll say that.
Right, okay. No, that's interesting. I mean, again, it just shows you the type of character that you've got.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a partner there, but not living together. And pretty much, I've always been really, really independent. As in, if I don't have it, I just don't have it, and that's just that. And I'm just challenge yourself, just go for it. Even if you think you've not got support at home, come to the networking events. You have got so much support in there. Get a coach, whatever works for them. Just go for it. And I was at Martin and Stephen's dad. Jim actually did a talk at one of the networking events, which was quite funny. And he mentioned it was a motivational chat that he was doing, because it was in January. So everybody, we get the January blues, we're getting back into it. So everybody's doom and gloom. So Jim comes and he's inspiration, and discuss this thing in your shoulder called Abbott. So, and I was thinking, what is he talking about? He says it's one of the ones where you want to do something and then we Abbott, what if this goes wrong? Abbott. And I was like, that is absolute quality. Something so simple I picked up, and everybody has Abbott. So we just need to nudge Abbott out the way and just say, what's the worst thing that can happen? If you get the opportunity to take a career break, what is the worst thing that can happen? That you need to go back to the job that's, managed to get you the life that you have so far.
That's
not
brilliant.
Really that bad.
That's great. I'm a wee bit like that with buying properties in Aberdeen. People keep trying to convince me, but I go, Abbott this, Abbott that. There's going to be another oil crash. Abbott.
So, yeah, we've all got Abbott, so we just need to give them a nudge off.
No, that's brilliant. And the other question I had for you as well, obviously you said you're 8 months into your kind of, your career sort of break, sabbatical, and you're probably reaching that point now. So, how's it looking? Are you going to be able to go like full time in property? Are you going to be able to say goodbye to the job?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. Love the confidence in it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That my colleagues that I did work with, they're Gillian, you're doing really well and everything's going really well. So it's one of the ones where I keep saying I'm going to write the letter of resignation, which I haven't quite did yet.
Just share this podcast.
What?
Just share this podcast on social media when they listen to it.
Maybe cut that out. Kids on. So yeah, no. In all honesty, the job, it's hard work, and it's built my confidence, and I've met some amazing people. However, property to me now is my absolute goal, and I love it. And I know that if I work hard and continue to learn for others, then it will be, a real success in my staging business. I'm, looking to really, really excel on that. So unfortunately, I won't be going back, and the letter of resignation will be getting written shortly.
Oh, well, it's their loss.
It's their loss, I know. And it was obviously Martin and Stephen's dad, Jim, works in youth work and things like that, and it's children that I worked with as well. And he says, I'm really proud of you, Gillian, really, really proud of what you've achieved. He says, but I'm really, heartbroken that the kids are now going to miss out. I says, yeah, but I can bring them properties and we can make sure they're all okay.
No, that's it. No, it's brilliant. And what is the goal? What's the plan? Do you have? Are you into that kind of goal setting? Like, are you into that sort of stuff? If you looked ahead?
Yep, I have looked ahead. My ultimate goal is to really excel and have a fabulous staging business and work on the business rather than in it. I have a couple of people that work alongside me on the projects now, which has been amazing. And also, working alongside Brogan and getting sourcing the deals for the investors as well. Sometimes you can, it's hard to juggle sometimes, and really just kind of focus on both of them. But yeah, the ultimate goal is to have an amazing staging business, and I've already, purchased my yacht in my head and all that.
No, that's it. You got to go with your dreams. That's it. And it's been fantastic talking to you. I think a lot of people will really love this episode, just seeing what's possible. So thanks very much for sharing and being so honest.
Thank you very much, guys, for the opportunity. It's been very, very eventful.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us. Where can the listeners reach out to you and follow your journey if they wish to do so?
Yep. So I'm on, and I don't have a Facebook business page yet. On Instagram, it's GM Luxury Home Staging. They can connect with me on there, which would be absolutely awesome. And yeah, thanks again, guys. It's been really, really great.
Great.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So, as always, guys, hope you enjoyed that interview. Reach out to us on social media, Instagram, tag us, and get along to one of our networking events: Aberdeen, Edinburgh, Dundee, Glasgow, first Wednesday of every month. Stephen?
Yeah, look forward to seeing you guys at the networking event. I'm up in Dundee this month with Kessa Salimi, so I'm looking forward to this one. I've not been Dundee's the only one I've not been to, so I'm getting the opportunity to tour about. Unfortunately, next up in Glasgow, but I'm sure everyone will love the event in Glasgow.
Fantastic, guys. Speak to you again next week.
Cheers, guys.